So, hello, my name is Bodo, and as you see, I'm talking about the walking Node and also IO.js, but IO.js is not directly a new framework for something. It's actually a fork of Node, and it could be that you will need to rename Node in future to IO.js, and let me tell you how it came so far. So, the first contact with IO.js was on GitHub through the Explore timeline, and as I saw it, I thought, okay, what's that for a stupid name? And didn't so much activity, so I just ignored it. I also saw on Twitter Julian Gruber, I think he was also once at MNUG, the Node.js MNUG group. And he also just said it's just a fork, so I thought, okay, Node stays as it is, don't need to change anything. But then there was a second contact some days later, and I saw this. And maybe you know some people from the Southern team, for example, is one of the core contributors. RB is also quite often in the commit history of the Node project. So I was a bit confused and thought, let us watch this. So then it started to Twitter tweets started to plop out, which made me a bit worried. For example, Jan Leonard, the core contributor from CouchDB and 2D, says he migrates everything to IO.js. Then John Newberry, who also has a lot of contribution in the area of Core.js or Express. Okay, the link should point to IO.js, and I don't know what the other thing is. And I know what's happened. There's a microphone.
Internet, Bus, Aufzugezeichen, Reiki und alles letztendlich. Nachweisen.
Wirklich klein? Das vertraue ich nicht. Okay. Yes, so we see there are quite a lot of tweets about IO.js, and I think it looks for me so far it's just not just a fork, it seems to be something serious, and in comparison to the real Node.js project, which has no commits since end of November, it's also quite active. So what's actually the problem why this fork was initialized? There is a delay in the release cycles of Node. So, for example, who from you uses the 11 version, 0.11? Okay. At least there should be a 0.12 version, which is delayed, or which was announced last year in December, and now it's announced in this December. And people don't trust it will be released any soon. And most people don't see a reason for this because a lot of startups already use 0.11 in production and don't have any problems. Another problem is that there are a lot of core contributors leaving from the Node team. For example, Isaacs, you know, is the author from NPM, and he has now his NPM startup where he's working on. So he left. Induntley is now working on IO.js, and later there was also another contributor who done a lot of stuff on Node. He also left more or less. Then there is Joyent, who is the project owner, so actually they own the trademarks, and it seems that they have a specific policy on Node which leads to this problem. So I also hear from the community that when you send a pull request to a node, you wait weeks or months until you get any reaction. And Joyent is a service provider, so they have infrastructure as a service like Amazon. And I think they want to make Node enterprise ready, so they stop development to keep things stable and hope they get more customers with this, and maybe they try to have specific decisions in the way Node.js could develop, which are not good for the more hipster developers who want new things, new features. So, seeing all these problems, we see the man who looks like the father from someone. And yes, so the question now is, how could the future look? And I think there are about 2 or 3 scenarios. One could be IO.js replaces Node.js, or Node.js and IO.js coexist, or what I believe Joyent gives the IO organization the node names. Because for Joyent, having a fork which is actively contributed next to their node version will, I think, ruin their business model, or at least have a negative impact. So I think they will more or less give the names around further to IO.js than do something, than develop Node further in coexistence. At least we will know in the end of January there should be the release, not the 0.12 version, but the 1.0 version. So they also introduced semantic versioning, so we don't have any 0. something versions which more or less indicate mod readiness by other projects. So what are things they want to change in comparison to the normal Node project? They want to introduce a 6-week release cycle. So releases are now more regularly, not every 2 years, at least the major releases. Then they want to enable quick V8 updates. V8 is, for the people who don't know, the JavaScript engine, which has C++ bindings, which connects to the libUV C layer, which does the async stuff. And they, for example, have a lot of ESX features, which are also quite behind from the Node version, because they don't have the capacity or don't trust to update V8 regularly. Also, they have an open governance model, so it's more easier to be part of the Node project. This is also a tip for everyone who wants to make a career jump now. I think your chances are good if you send anything or want to take an active role in this IO.js project, that you will get this role, or you can land contributions which will actually be merged, which always looks good on your CV. Then they also want to introduce an add-on layer, so anyone who wrote C add-ons with Node. Okay, so just if you want to have any C or C++ library, you can use an V8 API to export this in JavaScript. And for example, you see when you build Mongoose, you have always this Kerberos, which is built. And this is, for example, binding to the C Kerberos library. And because V8 changes, this add-on API changes too. And they want to introduce a layer like NAN. It's not to be verwechselt with, yes, confused with another number. It's something, another name. Yes. Also, they want to split up submodules. So libUV.js should be minimal possible Node version, for example, which binds directly to libUV and doesn't have any JavaScript sugar like streams, or for example, you can write fs read file, which reads the complete file. This is also something which is written on top of JavaScript, which is not implemented in libUV. So libUV is very low level, and they want to split it. They also want to put the standard library stuff into some other extra module, and they want to clean up the standard library. They want to deprecate domains. I don't think anyone uses them, so it's not a problem. And they want to put the stream package also out of the standard library. So what does this has for an impact to us as a developer? We may need to learn a new command. So if you write Node scripts or something which should be executable with this command, you can replace all Node with IO.js. And for the recruiters, we're now looking for people with 4 years of IO.js experience. And as some final word, if you want to have any more information, there's a lot of in the GitHub repository. Then there are ongoing logo decisions. So if you want to contribute a logo or something, there are some different models. You can even vote for the logo if you're interested. There are also release discussions. Then Aaron Hammer, the author from Happy.js and the warm-up guy, complains about in his blog why he is against the fork, but also sees use in the fork. And there's also some more background information behind this link. How Node actually came to this point where it is now. Beside of this, thank you, and follow me all now. And like my project on GitHub.